Alrighty, what's going on, my dudes? I hope you're doing well. We are here today. In front of me, I have the AZTEK SIREN, the 6 wide. So I didn't do one on the AZTEK SIREN right here because there's already a fair few of them on YouTube, and there was none of the Urban ARTT. I knew the Urban ARTT was coming. I just didn't know it was going to come this soon. I was going to make some sort of a video with the AZTEK, but the Urban ARTT came a lot faster than I expected it to. It must have been express shipped. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this one. I'm going to compare it to the Urban ARTT right now. But the AZTEK right here, it's the same as the Urban ARTT, 6 wide by 23. I actually measured the top at 5'8". It was just a little bit under. Same thing with the Urban ARTT. With the bottom though, I actually measured the top as being that tiny bit under, so I measured it as 5'8". The head tube angle here is 83 degrees, where the Urban ARTT is 82.5, and this one has a forged head tube. It looks really nice as well. You guys can see it's got the cutouts right here, and it has the silver trimming along the outside, which I think looks really nice, and it's fully cut out all the way through. You guys can see right there, which looks really cool as well. But the Urban ARTT head tube is not actually forged, it's a welded head tube. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they are making a different head tube for the new 6 wide. But I can't really compare them to as of now. We're going to compare foot space right now. So the Urban ARTT has 17.5 inches of foot space, where the AZTEK SIREN right here has only 16 inches. So it has a fair bit less foot space, purely because the head tube here, as you guys can tell, the head tube on the Urban ARTT is literally about half the size of this one. So you're going to gain a lot more foot space with the Urban ARTT over the AZTEK right here. But the concave is greater on the AZTEK than the Urban ARTT, which I like a little bit more concave. So I do prefer the concave on the SIREN over the Urban ARTT. Flipping on to the bottom, it does have cutouts on the bottom. So they both have cutouts on the bottom, as you can see right here, the Urban ARTT and both AZTEK. AZTEK has a little bit more cutouts, as you guys can see, where the Urban ARTT is just one little cutout right here. But the width on bottom for this one is 5.5, where the Urban ARTT, like I measured, was 5.8. So the Urban ARTT has a little bit more foot space on the bottom. My dog just wants to go out, give me 1 sec. Out you go, Titan. We're back, don't worry about that one, that was quick. So the bottom of the deck, 5'8" on the Urban ARTT, 5.5 on the AZTEK SIREN right here. And the ground rail, so I measured just from the edge to here, you get 2 inches of ground rails. So obviously you're gonna have 4 inches of ground space, or 4 inches of surface touching on the bottom. Whereas the Urban ARTT is slightly smaller, 1.8 inches apparently. So the AZTEK SIREN has a bigger ground rail on it than the Urban ARTT. So that's a little bit of a benefit to me. I like a wider ground rail, but I'm not a huge fan of a flat bottom deck. We're going to talk about 50 space and 50 space. They both have the same amount of room, which is 2.5 inches. So I'm measuring all the way to the end of the spacer right here. So that's 2.5 inches of grind space on these ones, or 50 space, whatever you want to do. Get it in there. The only thing about this video today is I'm not actually going to be riding this SIREN deck. I don't think at this stage. I might set a scooter up, but it's going to be hard to compare them because I've only got one pair of titanium bars, and I want the scooters to be pretty similar. But I might take my Mad Gear apart and put all the parts on this one so Tommy can ride it with me. We're going to get everything set up. I'm going to try to put this one together. We're going to head to a skate park of some sort. We want to go to a plaza, so we might go to High Point Plaza. I don't think Tommy's ever been there, so I'll see you guys there. Woo, we're at Berwick Skate Park right now. What we're going to do is we're going to take this Juzzy deck, or this Juzzy Complete I should say, with tilt parts, and put it all parts on the SIREN right there. But what we're going to do is we're going to do it in 3, 2, 1. What do you guys reckon? I reckon this looks really cool. Pink and black paint splatter effect kind of thing, except these green grips kind of ruin it. What do you reckon, Tommy?
Sick. Let's ride it.
Let's ride it. You going? See you later, man. Bye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my camera gear out of the car, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to get a little bit warmed up, do some stretches. Feeling a little bit rusty, feeling a little bit old today. Plus, more greasy and more dirty. I'm going to wash my hands, get all cleaned up. That's the one thing I hate about working on scooters is how damn dirty you get, because it's annoying, but we're going to get it. Let's get right into it. Alrighty, so as you guys can see, that the Urban ARTT clearly has a much bigger foot room than the AZTEK does here. The Urban ARTT head tube finishes a lot earlier than what the AZTEK does. I've rode both the scooters so far. The AZTEK right here has chromoly handlebars on there. It feels really nice with chromoly handlebars. Honestly, I think I'm going to take my titanium bars off and put a pair of steel bars on with the 6 wide. It just makes it feel that much more comfortable. It feels really weird having a really light front end with a heavier deck. The deck isn't heavy itself. It's just having super light bars. It feels like nothing with weight on the scooter, I should say. It doesn't really work too well. So after riding the AZTEK with the chromoly bars, it still feels just as light as my scooter. Honestly, it doesn't feel too much heavier, and it feels just a little bit better. But the AZTEK, I like like I said, has a lot less foot room. We're going to talk about the dropouts for a second here. As you guys can see, the dropouts are quite similar on the AZTEK and the Urban Art right here. They are very, very similar indeed, except the plugs on this one are slightly different. It's got a slightly different cutout, but ideally they do the same thing. They both have a lock nut inside there, so then the actual insides do hold the nut inside there, so you don't have to use anything else but a 6mm Allen key, which is really, really convenient. But we're going to get some clips on these bad boys right here. I'm going to get extra warmed up. I'm a little bit warmed up, but the rails aren't sliding. I have no wax, so I'm going to have to walk around the skate park and try and find some. Then we're going to get some clips and talk about the scooters. So I just noticed I do have a crack in my bars. I did a poor job of cutting a slit in titanium. I don't recommend cutting a slit in titanium as it is, but I didn't have an oversized SCS, so I had to just do that. That's just what I had to work with. And I'm not going to rub that anymore because the flex, I'll just show you the flex. The flex on this thing, it's getting a little bit out of control. It's getting sketchy, like to the point where I jump and it's kind of freaking me out. So we're going to have to go swap the bars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 3 major things that I'm going to test on this deck right now. I already know what it's like, but I'm going to film it for you guys just to show you what it's like. So we're going to do board slides, then we're going to do 50-50s and 5-0s, and then we're going to do some park tricks, so some whips and stuff like that to see how it whips, all that kind of stuff. We're going to slam some board slides out on this down rail, flat down right here. We're going to get right into it. So we just got done with the AZTEK, testing this one out for you guys. I've already rode it many times, but I rode it with my titanium bars, so it felt completely different to what I was riding right there. You guys would have seen that the bars are quite low on this one, so it did feel really out of proportion, but I was still able to do a lot of the tricks I wanted to do. I did a couple of 5-0s, a couple of 50s, a couple of board slides, even did an inward air and a quad whip and stuff like that. So I could still do everything I wanted to do. Comparing it to this one right here, we're still going to get some clips on the Urban Art as well. But I'm more used to the Urban Art as of now, so I'm just going to tell you the differences that I felt instantly. The AZTEK right here definitely felt a little bit, actually not a little bit, a lot smaller. You could definitely notice that the foot space was much smaller on the AZTEK compared to the Urban Art. That's one thing I noticed off the bat. The head tube angle is 83 on the AZTEK and the head tube angle was 82.5 on the Urban Art. They felt relatively the same. I don't really notice the difference. Sometimes an 82.5 can feel a lot further back, like on the Flavor review I did the other day. It felt much further back than 82.5. And with the smaller bars, it did feel really strange to whip. I do feel a lot more comfortable turning on this one, obviously, because it is 5.5 on the bottom compared to this, which is 5.8. It's probably really windy, so I'm sorry for that one right there. So this is 5.5 on the bottom, so I can carve a little bit more and I have a little bit more room to lean over, so it's not going to bite quite as easy. And 5.0s work quite nice on this, although I do prefer 5.0s on the Urban Art over the AZTEK. That's going to do it for the AZTEK today. I'm going to go home, get a new pair of bars, chuck an SCS on this one, because like I said, my bars are cracked and I don't want to be riding with cracked titanium bars because that's just sketchy. So I'll see you guys Frankston. Alrighty, we're at Frankston now. You guys can see that I've swapped my bars out. I've got some steel Urban Art bars on here. They're the same height as my other bars, except they're in SCS now. The scooter is reasonably heavier, but I'm actually kind of glad I switched these over because you're going to get an idea on what scooters are like at the same weight. It would have been kind of weird doing this one really light, this one kind of heavy, so I'm kind of happy I switched this up. I'm still not fully used to it, but what we're going to do is we're going to go down the flat bar, down the ledges, we're going to get some clips, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this. I had the exact weight of the deck. I actually hit up Urban Art, asked them weight for me, so I've got the weight. It's going to be in the description below, all the specs, all that kind of stuff. So let's go down to the rails, go down the ledges, get some clips, and we'll compare them. So we're finished up with the comparison of the two decks here. We've got the Siren that Tommy's on right now. We've got the Urban Art that's right here. They're quite similar but quite different at the same time. The Urban Art has a lot bigger foot space, and it actually to me it feels longer than 23, whereas the AZTEK, it's got a shorter foot space and it actually feels a little bit shorter than 23. So if you don't mind having a small foot space, definitely go with AZTEK. I do prefer the Urban Art over 5.0s and 50/50s. I don't know what it is about this deck, I just definitely prefer this one over 5.0s and 50s. I think it's just because it's more square, it's got more room on the bottom. So I'm obviously going to have more surface of grinding. I'm going to have a little bit more 50 room as well. The only downfall is I do need to ride 120mm wheels. So if you do get the Urban Art, you most likely will have to ride 120mm wheels. That's if you don't want to be scraping when you're leaning over. When I put the chromoly bars on the Urban Art, it did feel very different to me. I've only really rode these with titanium bars, not aluminium. Titanium bars, so it did take a little bit to get used to. It felt really far forward because the head tube was so small. Like there's a lot of foot space, so you can stand really close to the bar. And the AZTEK, the 83-degree head tube angle felt really nice as well. I didn't do any blunt stalls. I did do a couple on them, but I didn't film any blunt stalls or grinds. The Urban Art definitely has a lot more blunt room than the AZTEK, but my pick out of the two 6 wides right now is going to be the Urban Art. The AZTEK still is really nice. I have nothing against it, but this is my personal opinion. I'm going to say I like this one a little bit more than the AZTEK, but the only downfall is this one isn't actually out yet. This is still a prototype. So if you still want to get a 6 wide, you can get a 6 wide AZTEK. You can get it from pretty much anywhere in America, I believe, like the Vault, Scooter Farm, maybe stuff like that. You can't just get them in. You can't get them in Australia right now, which sucks. That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. This was a little bit of something you guys asked for, so a little bit of comparison. You guys are asking me what's the difference between the two and which one would I choose. So I told you guys that, but if you guys did like this one, be sure to give it a like, comment, subscribe, do all that kind of good stuff. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.